Welcome to Zach and Ira's podcast. We're into week 3. I think we're getting into a good groove with this. Yeah. Let's just get right into it. We're going to start with our weekly sports news. Big thing, NBA, Celtics, 10 in a row.
10 in a row, yeah.
10 in a row.
That's, they're hitting on all cylinders, but the injury bug's starting to come.
Yeah, what's up with Tatum? It's not broken. But
not broken,
they're
but...
go for an MRI?
MRI was supposed to be today, still hasn't come out. He actually had a lot of problems in college.
Yeah.
And that's why they said that maybe he didn't, look like he was all that top 10, like the top player.
Yeah.
Keep going into college, he was rated as a top player.
Right.
Didn't, show it in college, but most NBA ready player.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
But, he had ankle issues last year, so it kind of scared me. Like, oh crap, like, we can't afford this, because Al Horford also has a concussion right now.
Yeah, that was...
After last year, he missed 9 games with concussion. So he caught an elbow coming down. The first thing I thought was, oh crap, he's going to be out. Didn't look all that bad, but when they say when you get one concussion, a simple hit can give you, give you another concussion. But players are stepping up all over the place. Aaron Baines started for Al Horford, and he had 21. I believe he was leading the team in points. I've loved this kid's game this year, like the Australian.
Yeah.
They were saying they had all of Australia on the side, basically. Yeah. It's generating buzz for the team. The numbers are up. But this kid comes with balls, dude. Like Tommy Heinsohn said, he's got that. He comes out and he bangs on the boards. He's allowed Al Horford to be Al Horford. He's allowed him to get those threes, and Al Horford's been on fire.
Yeah, he's looking much better than last season. I mean, he didn't look bad last season, but he didn't look like Al Horford. He didn't look like the guy who got the money that he got.
No,
but this year he's
doing great.
Doing very well.
I hope the concussion's not long. They can't afford it. Kyrie's been a magician, but the Cavs will get it right. So you don't want to start getting on a losing streak.
Yeah.
And then the Cavs come back past you.
Yep.
And I just hope Tatum's injury isn't too severe. They said it's not a break, but it could be ligament. Who knows?
Right. If let's say he and Horford are out for 4 games apiece, and they lose all 4, they're still 10-6.
Yeah.
So it's if it's gonna happen, I think now is a good time for it to happen.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be fine.
They're for real.
It's not like the Hayward injury, which I'm still telling you, I'm still saying it. Hayward will be back this year. There's no reason why he's going on the trips with them and he's shooting from the chair already if he doesn't plan on coming back.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. If they're doing this good the whole season, they may not want him to come back. They might say, you know what? Just take the year.
No, but you know what?
Get you back next
come
year.
back off the bench. You have a lot of rookies on that team, so it's not like he's not gonna. Don't put him in starting lineup. Put him in, 10 minutes a game in the playoffs, and then work him into the playoffs and see what happens.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
He's a good player, and it'd be great to have him back. But right now, I think it's good for him to just focus on getting better.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Like I said. Cavs are going to turn it around, I think. Even though I think they're so old and can't defend, they're still giving up like 100+ a game every game.
Right. Well, and with the Cavs, look at LeBron's tweets and stuff like that. Have you seen his cryptic tweets? Yeah, like that was an aggravation fist. Not what he tried to make it the next day.
He's a little bitch.
He is. He's a little crybaby, and he's upset. Now Kyrie's on his own and he's running a team and he's just upset about it.
Kyrie's a magician. That's all I can say with that.
He's really good.
But the Celtics are doing good. NBA basketball is, it's become the number 2 sport.
Well, it's exciting right now.
Yeah.
Basketball is exciting right now, which brings me to a different point is of the NFL not being exciting at all anymore.
Oh,
I was talking with some friends last Sunday, and I have a friend who gambles a lot, and he was betting on some games, and he's like, "Well, which games do you think?" And you look at the thing, it's like, well, it's obvious, it was the Rams, and he was doing a parlay. So I said, take the Rams and the Eagles. It's easy. And he looked at it, he was like, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, "It's easy." I mean, both teams just destroyed.
Who would have thought the Broncos defense would just fall off that bad? 51 points against that defense.
Yeah,
I mean, that's crazy. I still think it's more of a product of they're just not moving the ball. The defense is kind of like giving up a little bit.
Yeah.
I got a little bit on them later, but I think that, like you said, the NFL hasn't been as exciting.
It's getting boring.
It's still the number one sport in America. It
is
my favorite sport. Nothing will ever pass it.
Numbers are down.
Numbers are down, yes, but you also have to look at there's more streaming going on now.
There is.
It's not the.
I don't think that's having the full impact on it. I think there's a lot of people that are just like, well, I'll just watch it.
And also, people probably don't have as much cable or something. Like, cable's expensive right now for a lot of people. So people probably go to the bars and stuff. I mean, it's still the number one sport watched no matter what.
Oh, yeah. And it will be. It will be. I'm not saying that. I just think that, Mark Cuban said it. What was it? Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered, or something along those lines. And that's what the NFL's doing.
Yeah.
They're just overdoing it.
Thursday night games. Although it looks like a decent game tonight, possibly. Seahawks versus the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Cardinals are 4-4. Seahawks, I think, are 6-2.
Should be a decent game.
Yeah, should be. The Seahawks need to start. No, the Seahawks may be even 5-3.
Yeah, I don't even know if they got that good a record.
Yeah, well, they're over 500. They're not 500. But we'll see. But I feel like we need to talk about this. It's very sad. But the pitcher Roy Halladay, of the Phillies and the Blue Jays, passed away on Tuesday, I believe it was.
Yep.
And in a plane crash, he was a amateur flight, plane pilot, and he loved flying, but he took risks.
Yeah, way too many risks.
The video that showed the other day that he was doing tricks on the water.
Yeah.
And they said those planes, they look like Matchbox planes.
Yeah, they're small.
They're tiny.
You can actually open up the window and put your hand out the window if you want.
And they said that you can actually, they said it just flying 5 feet over the water is dangerous in those things.
Yeah.
And he's doing tricks. So, it sucks. Felger has been getting killed all week.
Yeah, Mike
Felger getting killed since yesterday for his comments on the situation. But, I don't want to say he was insensitive, but he wasn't completely wrong.
Insensitive, but he had valid points. If you're going to risk your life doing that, you have to understand the consequences. And it's unfortunate that it happened, but they're calling it a tragedy. That's not a tragedy to me. It's unfortunate. And I'm sad for his
family and friends.
But a tragedy is like the shootings in Texas, and that's a tragedy.
I mean,
it's an unfortunate event that happened, and
a tragedy is like the Red Sox prospect Daniel Flores.
Yeah, Daniel Flores,
17 years old, from cancer complications.
Yeah,
that's a tragedy. But Halladay, there was a video on YouTube from the company that sold the plane.
Yep.
Of the wife being not happy about him buying the plane.
Right.
So that should, I get it. You want to have fun. You can't live under a rock, but it's just not what I would do.
If you don't want to die in a plane crash, don't dive a plane towards the water.
These people driving their own planes, I just, no. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I didn't want to just talk about the bad with him, obviously. I wanted to talk about the good.
Well, yeah.
He had a record.
Multi-time Cy Young.
He had a record of 203 and 105.
Yeah.
He was an 8-time All-Star. He had 2,117 strikeouts. Had 2 Cy Young wins, 1 perfect game, and a no-hitter in the playoffs.
Yeah. He's great talent. One of the best pitchers in the generation.
And there's an eater. Guy had balls. Yeah. Wasn't scared of the moment. He's definitely. I think he's a Hall of Famer. Maybe he doesn't have the high win total.
Yeah, no,
I think he's a Hall of Famer. a lot of Hall of Famers are kind of closer to the 300 mark for wins now.
But I mean, if you're winning the Cy Young twice, and you have a 600 or 660 or better win percentage,
and I think his I think his ERA was in the low threes.
Yeah, it had to be. He was always low in ERA.
He was balls, man. That guy could pitch.
He was really good.
Pitched from 98 to 2013 too. I mean,
15 years.
He's definitely in my book.
That would be considered 60 if you count the bookend years.
In my book, he's a Hall of Famer. It's just a matter of time now, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
what's it been?
I don't want to say this and sound insensitive on this, but him dying is
most likely going to get it in quicker.
Yeah.
I'm shocked he wasn't in it already, but
he just retired. 2013. He's not eligible till next year.
So next year.
Yeah, it's 5 years.
5 years. Yeah. So we'll see. He'll probably get in now because of that. Maybe he wouldn't have gone in.
Right. He'll probably be a first ballot Hall of Famer now.
But that's unfortunate. But like I said, I didn't want to just talk about the bad.
Yeah. He is. I liked watching Roy Halladay pitch. I'm a baseball guy. Baseball is my number one sport.
Yeah.
And I love watching the pitchers.
He's a generational pitcher.
Great.
But I guess we'll move on from that. And
how about did you hear the rumors about the Yankees?
No.
And their possible new manager?
No.
Brian Cashman is not ruling out Alex Rodriguez as their manager.
That's just awful.
I disagree. I think that would be good for both the Yankees.
I think he's too much of a prima donna.
And for Alex Rodriguez. It's New York. That's what they need.
Get it. Yeah, well, I guess they also didn't like the way that Girardi was with the young guys.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense because Aaron Judge was a beast.
Right. Well, that doesn't mean he treated him well, though.
Yeah.
But, I mean, A-Rod, I think if he went in there, I personally have never been a fan of A-Rod my entire
Even
life.
when he was almost going to the Red Sox, I'm like, no.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that's a different story for another time. I think putting him in a dugout as a manager is a great move by whoever does it.
Yeah.
He's very knowledgeable. He's one of the best hitters that you've seen, whether it's steroid induced or not. You have to still have the talent.
He had
the
swing,
steroids just make you better.
That's what sucks. Like he's not going to get in the Hall of Fame possibly because the steroids, but the guy, just like Barry Bonds, had to swing.
Oh yeah.
You know?
And I mean, I think if the Yankees do that, I think teams got to watch out. I think that team can put things together. And I mean, they were good this year, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
They made it to the playoffs. I think if he gets in that dugout,
they fired him. Like that team
it's been a long time
wasn't even meant to make the playoffs this year.
You know? I think much like the Red Sox in 2013 with John Farrell, I think they won in spite of Joe Girardi.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't think he was the catalyst to those wins. I think the emergence of Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez.
Well, they had a good young core. They're scary. They're scary. I said it a couple weeks ago. They're a scary team.
They are. They're going to be good.
You know, but speaking of my favorite sport, football, today or Tuesday, Martellus Bennett gets cut. Tuesday or Wednesday he gets cut late.
Yeah, it's a 2-day waiting period.
2-day waivers. So. And the NFL is so freaking stupid that these teams let the Patriots claim him. The Patriots won one of the last waiver claims.
Yep.
He had $30 million contract, but none of it was guaranteed after this year because the Packers already paid the guaranteed money.
Right.
He would have only got paid league minimum for the rest of the year, and then they could have cut him much first, and no money would be tied down.
And that's the reason why it was a mistake, because if this injury is a real injury...
I think it's fake.
If it's a real injury, and he comes to this team and does nothing for 3-4 weeks, I mean, yeah, you got him for the playoff run, but that's tough.
I just can't believe the NFL. These teams, this is just another reason. You're the smartest one in the room, the Patriots, and the other teams aren't. Like, this is crazy that he was allowed to come back to this team with the success that they had last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's big at this moment because Hogan's hurt.
Right. They can use him definitely.
Obviously, you don't have Edelman.
Yeah.
Dwayne Allen hasn't showed up all year. No catches. Gronk played 100% of the snaps, I believe, last week. That's not good. That's a recipe for disaster.
Right. That's asking for an injury.
So it's a huge pickup. I hope they don't cut Jacob Hollister. I hope it's. I mean, I hate to say it, but I kind of hope it's Dwayne Allen.
Do they need to cut anybody? They just put Hightower on the IR.
Yeah, they did, but
Shane
they also signed a defensive tackle,
okay.
and then I think they signed one other player.
Did they?
Yeah. Well, no, Shane McClellan never came off the injured reserve though, so he was already on the injured reserve.
I didn't realize he was actually.
So the only position that was really filled was Hightower's position. Now, technically, I think they'll have a grace period with a couple day grace period with Bennett.
Yeah.
To sign, like get rid of someone.
Yeah.
But it's still crazy to me.
Yeah, it's a good pickup for Belichick. I mean, again, he's the best quarterback in the league. Quarterback? He's the best coach in the league. Sorry, he's the best coach in the league. I was looking at your Brady pictures. He's Brady. The best coach in the league, and this is why. You know, he knows that Bennett is still a top end talent.
Oh yeah. You know? I mean, and speaking back to the NFL being stupid, right? Jerry freaking Jones suing his own league. Suing his own league because he doesn't want to have Roger Goodell get an extension. Now, I'm going to show you something. I hate Roger Goodell. Oh,
you and your little...
I have this for a reason, because I can't stand Roger Goodell. I think he should be fired, but not for the reason why Jerry Jones wants him fired. Jerry Jones, who last year spoke out against Robert Kraft, when Robert Kraft was fighting the Deflategate suspension, and more though he was fighting the fine and all that. Jerry Jones says, "Oh, you should take what your consequences and take the punishment.
Yep.
It's about all of us and not just you."
Yeah.
But now he's upset about the Ezekiel Elliott suspension, which just came back again. Will he or won't he be suspended? He's supposedly suspended again. We'll see if it lasts up until Sunday, because that's what happened last week. Saturday rolls around, and whatever judge of the week has him on his fantasy team. So, hey, your suspension's upheld for the week. Yeah. You know? So, you know, Jerry Jones should take his own words of advice and not...
Yeah, I mean, I don't like Roger Goodell either. I think he's just too power hungry. But, yeah, it's kind of a dumb
you know, and then the other thing is, you got Roger Goodell, who's a puppet for these owners. What's going to happen? He's going to get fired, and you're going to get another jackass in there?
Yeah, but at least it's a new jackass.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like Goodell. I want him gone. Yeah. But, you know, Jerry Jones can't be a hypocrite.
Right.
But I do have two uplifting stories that I really, for the NFL, since you always hear a lot of bad about the NFL. Teddy Bridgewater of the Vikings came off IR today. And about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, in practice he severely dislocated his kneecap, kind of like Zach Miller.
Zach Ertz.
No, Miller.
Zach Miller?
From the Bears.
Okay.
Zach Ertz is from the Philly.
Oh, right.
So he had actually dislocated his knee just like that, where they almost had to amputate his leg and they had to save his leg. So for him to come back almost 2 years later, he's going to serve as the backup to Case Keenum. They put Bradford on the injured reserve. But I think that's a great story that this kid's making it back in the NFL. Yeah, looked like his career was over. He's back. I'm happy for the kid.
Hopefully he can perform like he did.
I mean, I wouldn't rush into it. If Case Keenum's got that team rolling, they're 7-2. They're not looking horrible. Case Keenum, he was on the Rams last year. Young Rams team. Didn't look good, but now he's got players around him. He's got a strong defense. They're rolling. So I'm happy for him. And the other person I'm happy for, and this is kind of a player that I've said critical things about in the past, because it's kind of stupid and selfish. But Josh Gordon's back in the NFL. He was reinstated with the Browns, and you hear the story, like he was talking to GQ magazine, and he admitted to drinking and smoking before every NFL game. And up until 7th grade, from 7th grade on, he's been drunk or doing drugs. And he said something like last year, he was out and realized he needed to go to rehab when I think he got reinstated last year, I believe, or maybe the year before.
I think it was last year.
And he was out looking for drugs late at night. and he realized like he had a problem, and he ended up failing another test, I believe.
Yeah.
And decided to go to rehab for 100 days. Now he's looking clean. He's looking good. Hopefully, hopefully he can resurrect his NFL career. He's talking about how he wants to be the best receiver. He was a beast too.
Yeah.
Imagine if he was sober. I mean,
yeah.
I just hope he takes his shot and doesn't fail.
Hopefully being sober doesn't make him worse.
I hope he just leaves the Browns.
Yeah.
I think they just need to get like a good support system, like they did, like the Cowboys did with Dez Bryant. They sent the player around with Dez Bryant, or a security team, basically stayed with Bryant after the incident with his mother, and they just made sure he didn't get in trouble.
Right.
Maybe the Browns should kind of do that, but they are the Browns.
Well, here's the thing: being on the Browns is going to make him want to do drugs and drink.
God, the goddamn. When you say the goddamn Jets, the goddamn Browns, yeah, I feel bad for that fan base. But
so one last thing in sports, unless you have anything else.
No, I'm done.
Sport we very rarely talk about because neither one of us are really big fans. We like the Bruins because we're local, but it's hockey. One of the biggest trades in a long time went down this week between the Avalanche, Senators, and Predators. Colorado sent Duchesne over to Ottawa. Ottawa sent tourists to Nashville, and Colorado got like picks galore and some lesser players that I didn't really know because again I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but if I know names on other teams and they get traded, it's got to be big.
Yeah.
And these guys, I mean, they're top tier players.
Duchesne's been on the trade block for like what looks like 2 years.
He has, and I don't know why nobody's taking him.
I mean, the price.
Yeah.
They were asking a lot
way too much. But, well, I don't know if it's too much, but in hockey terms, it's too much.
I mean, the salary cap's a big problem in hockey.
Right.
It's very hard to trade.
Yeah.
Because you have to match, the salary is just, the cap is so low, it's very hard to actually pull off the trades.
Right.
They've actually done things in the past that you can take on money. Because before, in NHL, you couldn't actually take on the money. So now, the way the league has structured the cap or the trades, they've allowed teams to keep certain money on a contract. So if you traded a player, I'm going to pay a quarter of his salary, but you get the player.
Right.
So that's how they've been able to figure out and work the cap.
Yeah. I saw the trade, and it was something I just figured I had to bring up.
Yeah.
Because it's big news. I mean, you don't see trades like that in most sports.
Yeah.
You know, basketball, you'll see it. Not really in baseball that big with the 3 teams. In football, you never see it.
Poor Bruins are wicked hurt.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been paying enough attention to hockey this year, I'll be honest. But
basketball's been exciting.
Yeah, basketball. I've actually been paying attention to basketball. I haven't paid attention to basketball since I think 1998.
Yeah, I
mean,
basketball.
even when the Celtics won in 2008. Even when they won, I wasn't all gung ho on it. Although I do love Kevin Garnett. He's one of my favorites.
KG, the big ticket.
But this year, I mean, they're exciting players to watch. Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's ridiculous.
Young team. So it's very cool. Exciting times in the sports world.
Yep.
So that's our week in sports.
Yep. All right. So now we're on to your start and sim for this week.
Start sims this week. I like to say I was 5-5 on Stardoms last week.
It was a good week.
5 for 5.
It's a good week for you. Keep it up.
So this week, my number one start, and this one was kind of. You can either go with either of these running backs versus the Broncos. You can go for James White or Dion Lewis. The brain's tired. James White versus the Broncos. Chris Hogan's out. They haven't really ruled him out, but I think he's out.
Yeah.
Definitely out. He's doubtful. And the Broncos have a strong secondary. So they're probably going to try and expose those linebackers with short passes, and White's great with that.
Well, especially in a PPR league, James
White in a PPR league is huge. Yeah. So
I think Dion Lewis, like if it's not a PPR league, would probably be the better play. But James White is most leagues these days are PPR leagues.
Well, that's what
James White is huge.
You could start either one of these running backs, I think, this week, and really have a solid game plan because Dion Lewis is he can run against this team too.
Yeah.
And the Broncos let up 51 last week. The secondary still a good secondary. They're just probably not playing themselves.
Right. Well,
Patriots always have a tough time in Denver though. So I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be as bad as the Broncos got beat last week. I think James White's gonna have a big week.
Yeah, he will.
My second stardom is Vernon Davis versus the Vikings. Again, this is another team that has a good secondary. They have good corners, good backfield. They'll lock up the Redskins receivers. Davis should be getting more targets with the read out. So I think Davis is a start this week. Like I said, I don't pick players that are automatic players.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you who's the best start. The best starters. Like I'm telling you Gronk. I'm not telling you Bell.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm going with. Vernon Davis versus the Vikings. A lot of buys again this week. So that's he's a filler player.
Yeah.
I used him in the league last week. It helped out. This guy, number 3, is been a guy who he was one of the number one. He was the number 1 pick last year. Didn't play yet. I told you Case Keenum was the starter. Jared Goff for the Rams is on fire, doing great. I think he threw for almost 400 yards last week.
Jared Goff is really good.
And so he's playing the Texans this week. And like I said last week, the Texans are letting up passing yards.
Yeah, they are.
So I'm probably going to start the quarterback every week that goes against the Texans at this moment. They don't have the defense right now. They're just injured and they're hurt. They aren't scoring on offense, so the defense is staying on the field a lot. Unfortunately, with the injury of Deshaun Watson, so I'm gonna say Jared Goff. He's a start for a quarterback this week. A lot of starting quarterbacks are probably on a bye, so this is a kid you could probably pick up on waivers possibly still. But so Jared Goff's my number 3 start. Piggybacking on that, I'm going to go Robert Woods versus Houston as a receiver for a start. Same reason I'm starting Goff is why I'm starting Woods. He should get open against this defense, and he's fast. Like last week, he took that. They were down. I think it was 3rd and 31. He took this short little 5-yard pass and took it for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So Robert Woods is coming on. He's becoming one of Goff's favorite receivers. And then number 5 stardom is Cameron Brate versus the Jets. Mike Evans isn't playing. He got suspended. Brate's been consistent all season, but he should get a few more targets this week with Evans out.
Yeah.
So that's my 5 starts. Hopefully I have as much luck as I did last week. And I was pretty close on my sits last week too.
Yeah.
But again, I kind of just said, here's my first sit. I kind of said the Broncos have good secondary. You got no Hogan, so I'm sitting Brandon Cooks. I feel like he's going to kind of get locked down a little bit. I hope not. I'm a Patriots fan. I want him to do good. But I think if they put Chris Harris on him, that's probably the play. They'll probably put Chris Harris on him because it keeps Leaves a little taller, lengthier.
Yeah, he's also...
Cooks will get by him.
Yeah, he's not as good as he was.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting older. So I'm probably going to sit Cooks versus the Broncos.
Yeah.
And then staying with the same game, I think I'm going to sit C.J. Anderson versus Patriots.
Well, didn't he get a minor injury last week too?
He did, and then he came back.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like a buyer beware.
Yeah.
Like if you have him as your starting running back, and you don't have any other running backs, you start him. If you're not gonna go to waiver to pick up a running back.
Right.
But if you have a couple solid running backs, and then your flex you have a receiver or tight end that would look, I think I'm gonna sit him. Pats, they're probably gonna look to try and get up early. And if they're up early, the Broncos are gonna have to pass.
Yeah, and Anderson isn't the best out of the back.
No, and the other thing too is Booker's been coming on as late, and the Patriots can be passed on. So why are you gonna take That's what teams don't realize. They keep trying to run the ball against the Patriots instead of throwing against the Patriots. So maybe they'll throw this week. I think Anderson's a sit. Now. Here's another receiver that I think this is a receiver that just got to this team. Kelvin Benjamin got traded to the Bills.
Yeah.
Didn't play last week. I believe he didn't play last week. in his first week of the Bills. But this week he's playing a familiar foe in the Saints. Division opponents for his whole career, basically. The Saints know him. And again, I think I said this a few weeks ago. I would have never said the Saints secondary was good before. Like, that, you start receivers versus Saints secondary, but this secondary is different. They're young, they're talented, they get in their face. So it's looking like they made a good choice of not spending the money to get Butler in that trade.
Yeah.
The secondary's doing good. They know Benjamin. Benjamin's probably still not knowing the playbook, even though the Bills' playbook isn't all that great. So I'm sitting Benjamin. My number 4 sit is Kirk Cousins versus the Vikings. I try to take a quarterback, I try to take a running back, and I try to take a receiver and a tight end.
Yeah.
So that mixes up my start and sit-ems. I don't have to just picking all these same players. Kirk Cousins versus the Vikings. The Vikings are playing great ball, great defensive ball. They bring pressure, and their secondary is good. So, I don't know if Kirk can handle that this week.
Yeah.
He almost got his running back killed last week. They got all blitz, and they missed the snap. And then he hands it to Robert Kelly to get tackled instead of him getting tackled. I hope he gets sacked like 3 times this week because of that. My last sit is Hunter Henry versus the Jags. I don't see the hype in him. Like, he always disappoints me. He never has that game. Anytime I've ever picked him on DraftKings, he doesn't have the game. But the Jags, he's playing the Jags this week, and the Jags defense is young, strong, fast. The secondary is great. So I just think that, ask the Bengals last week. The Jags, made A.J. Green lose his mind. So I think that Henry is a sit this week.
All right. Well, I'll take your advice. I got him on my team. I got him and Tyler Kroft. I'll play Kroft.
I play Kroft. He was almost on my starts.
Yeah.
So I think he's a start over Henry.
If people tune in next week and he's got a black eye, you know why.
All right. So that's my start of sit-ems.
Awesome.
So I'll move right along right into my lock of the week. Again, I could pick the Browns every week to lose. Or I could pick the 49ers to lose every week. I try to go.
You may not be able to do that much longer.
No, if Jimmy G gets his way. But they're still not playing him.
That's true.
And he's not starting this week, even though that quarterback got banged up last week.
Oh, did you hear the coach, Shanahan?
Yeah.
He's like, he's not ruling him out.
Yeah.
He's not ruling out the possibility. These guys like to not rule out possibilities.
Yeah. I mean, I could pick, again, like I said, I could pick the Browns to lose every week. I could pick the 49ers. I could pick those lowly teams. I try not to. I try to pick like an edge of a game. Like I did last week with the Falcons.
Yeah.
Well, not the Falcons. I picked the Saints over the Bucks.
Yeah, the Falcons.
Was 2 weeks ago. The Falcons was 2 weeks ago, and it's the Jets. So this week, my gut was telling me Lions over Browns. But again, I don't like to do that.
Yeah.
And the Lions, they're the Lions. They find ways to lose. So I was going away from that. My second idea was the Steelers over the Colts. But the Steelers consistently lose to bad teams. They don't show up. And that's my thing.
And if I'm not mistaken, the Colts had a good week last week. So.
Yeah, they did. So I don't think this is any different. I feel like the Steelers somehow will find a way to lose to another bad team. So I'm not picking them. So kind of crazy. Probably going to regret this. But my lock of the week is the Jets over the Bucks.
I don't think that's crazy.
You'll never hear me say the Jets, the goddamn Jets, ever over a team. I hate the Jets. But the Bucks are starting quarterback, the Jets' old quarterback, Fitzpatrick, this week.
Yeah.
The Jets know him. They're probably not happy with him. So I want to go with the Jets over the Bucks.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I think Josh McCown's been.
I still hate you, Jets.
Really good. So
you're not good.
I think that's a good pick.
But they're 4-5 this year, and they beat the Bills last week on Thursday Night Football.
Yep.
They didn't just beat the Bills; they danced on the Bills on the sideline.
It's not that tough sometimes.
Oh, the Bills!
The Bills have an issue getting out of their own way.
Well, that's the thing. Last week we talked about how the Bills were looking good. They made the trade for Kelvin Benjamin.
Yep.
I was like talking about, they're great. Like they look good right now. they're shocking me. But I did say, I'm pretty sure I said, but they're the Bills, and they're gonna find a way to screw something up.
Yep.
And what happened during Thursday Night Football? During our podcast, they got blown out.
Yep.
By the Jets. There's a video online of all the Jets defense dancing on the field, a different type of dance. Like, you just got embarrassed by the Jets.
I was alright with that, though. I have McCown on my fantasy team.
Oh,
so
McCown.
Hey, you know what? I don't like having him, but I do like having him. That guy can. This year, there's something with him. He's just getting yards and touchdowns.
He's old too, wicked old. But he's got a young team that's hungry around him.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of screwing up by not taking the. They're going to be in the same position again next year of shitty team because they're not going to get a good quarterback.
Yeah.
They should have tanked, but
they should have.
That's another question for another day. That is my start on Siddums. We kind of went in a tangent, but the Jets got me fired up here. So, lock of the week, Jets.
So, on to TV and movie news. The biggest news of the week came out at the beginning of the week with the possibility of Disney purchasing Fox.
Oh, my God.
Part of Fox. It would
be 21st Century Fox.
Right. No Fox News. No Fox Sports and no Fox Network.
Yeah, apparently the Fox, the head of Fox, the head executives of Fox, they want to focus more on the news and the sports. And
Disney can't own the Fox Network because they already own ABC.
Yeah.
And you can't own two
networks.
So
them owning 21st Century Fox is great because they can own their property again.
Yep.
Which is big, but they can still potentially have movies like Deadpool be rated R because they can release it under the Fox brand,
right?
Versus, Disney where you don't want to do the rated R,
right?
Which people get the wrong perspective of because there are movies that come out that Disney owns that have been rated R.
Yeah, but not the superhero type movies. So,
but it would be great.
I could see that.
You'd be happy because you'd get your Doctor Doom over there.
Yep.
But that'd be huge.
Unfortunately, in the past 24 hours, talks have settled down and they've both backed off the table. But this stuff doesn't happen in a week. It takes time.
And I don't think it was released without the intention of people knowing this is going to happen.
Well, right. Well, the rumor right now is it was leaked by one of or both companies to gauge public interest.
And to get the pressure.
Right.
Same thing happened with Sony in Marvel when the Spider-Man thing.
Right.
And it put so much pressure on it and interest that it happened.
Yeah. So I think if that happens, I think it'll be great for a lot of things. There's a couple things that may not be so good about it because now you got Disney, who's already one of the biggest in the industry anyways, getting even bigger, which isn't always a good thing. But look at the positives of it. You're getting back, not only do they get back X-Men and Fantastic Four, also they then can, I guess Fox has the rights to the original 6 Star Wars movies.
I think it's only the first, New Hope. I think.
Oh, the first 3?
Yeah, it's only the first one.
I think it's more than that.
They basically have the copy of the first movie remastered.
Gotcha.
So I think that's what it is.
But
they have the original copy of it, and they can't re-release it.
Yeah, they would get the rights to that. They would get the rights to Avatar because that's through Fox. Which Disney right now has a new section of one of the amusement parks. I don't remember which one it is. I think it's Animal Kingdom. That is Avatar. Actually, I'm planning on going down there next year after I open up the Star Wars too, because I don't want to go this year and then have Star Wars open up next year and be like, damn it, why didn't I go?
Yeah.
So I'll wait until next year. But the Avatar looks great. The new Star Wars thing that they're having at the park looks great. So if they could get that stuff back, that would it would make it all so much better for Disney and better for us in the long run because it would make them able to do more with it.
I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that happens. We can get a right Fantastic Four movie. We can get Doctor Doom into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I would say keep the X-Men, have the X-Men be like the Netflix shows where they reference everything and maybe have the movies reference the X-Men as well, but don't really have them cross much.
I wouldn't hate that if they used Doctor Strange to connect them to.
Right,
like different
to
dimensions.
bring them in. I think if they get it though, I think they would just completely reboot.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be unfortunate.
I don't think
for some of the actors.
I don't think they would. They wouldn't reboot Marvel itself.
They'd reboot the X-Men into Marvel. And I don't see that being that hard to do. I mean, the things I don't like about that is you would lose Fassbender as Magneto, who I think is great.
Yeah, he's good.
I don't remember her name, but the girl who played Storm in the new movie.
Oh,
I thought she did really well as Storm.
Really good.
So maybe they keep them, but I think in an effort to reboot and kind of start over, they would just get rid of everybody.
Yeah.
And that would be unfortunate for some things. For some things, it wouldn't be.
I mean, there's always a way to figure out a story to be able to tie them in too.
Yeah. I mean, and Doctor Strange could bring the realities together, or they've always been there. Yeah, and they've just been doing their own thing. Yeah, it's not.
They're figuring a way to do it with Carol Danvers.
Yeah, and it's not like Black the X-Men stories that have been out there have really. I mean, the new ones aren't even in the same time period as the current Marvel stuff. Yeah. You got the 60s and 70s and 80s in those last three movies. And the original stuff has kind of been erased with Days of Future Past. So, I mean...
The whole Fox, don't get me started on Fox timeline.
Actually, if you think about it, Dark Phoenix takes place in the 90s when that comes out. So, after that, now you're coming into the 2000s. That's when the Marvel Cinematic Universe started.
Yeah.
You
could work it in.
You could work it in, right? So
because they've been hiding. They've been hiding from the government. Yep. It could work out.
Yeah, they could, and then they just show up again.
Yeah. But you have to relate. Basically, if you do that, you have to kind of erase the first three X-Men movies,
which they pretty much have. Yeah. Days of Future Past. But yeah. So I mean, I think that would be gigantic.
I mean, there was talks that Black Panther's been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for longer than he's actually been
Iron Man. Yeah. Who started the whole thing.
So,
so that's that. News on the CW shows: Wentworth Miller.
Yeah.
Captain Cold.
I like him.
He's shooting his last couple scenes as Captain Cold.
Kind of not shocking.
It's not shocking. I mean, he's dead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's basically in flashbacks, or like there was a Flash episode where someone made a projection of him.
Well, Flash actually had to go back in time for his help.
There was that one too.
With King Shark.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, it's sad though, because I really liked him.
I like this
Captain
character.
Cold. I think Captain Cold is not a great character in the comic books, but I think that Wentworth Miller did a great job bringing him to the TV show.
No, he's a good actor.
Yeah. Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, I liked it.
Yeah, it was really, really good. There were a couple things. I loved the humor. I thought it was really funny. It might have been a little too much.
A little forced.
Not even so much forced. There was just too much humor. I mean, it's tough to say that about a funny movie, but it's not supposed to be a comedy, really.
They kind of had to get more humor because the last two Thor movies were received, positive.
Right.
So, to kind of change it, they really went drastic.
Yeah.
I thought they did a really good job. I only really had a couple small issues with the movie.
Yeah.
One, spoilers. You skip over this if you don't want to hear it. Lady Sif not being in it.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
It makes sense why she's not in it.
Well, if she was in it, she probably would have had the same fate as the other Warriors.
Yeah, so she actually wasn't in it, mainly because the actress is probably scheduling conflicts.
Yeah.
But the other reason is because they probably wanted to focus on another strong female character.
Right.
And Valkyrie. And as you just said, she would have suffered the same fate as the Warriors 3.
Right.
Which, again, spoiler, she basically, they probably don't want her dead.
Right.
So they didn't have her in it.
Right. They want to kill off as few strong female characters as they can because it's hard to have that in comic book movies that don't really have them to begin with.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is the biggest thing that I kind of, like I said, I had a problem with is the best way to explain why she's not in the movie when Thor should say, hey, where's Sif? Is that Thor right away knew Loki was not Odin.
Right. Odin was Loki, you mean?
Yeah, that Loki was Odin. That Loki would have known Lady Sif would figure it out.
Right.
Because she grew up with them.
Yep.
Maybe the other three were all the three Warriors 3 some of them are either too dumb or in their own mind.
Yeah.
That Lady Sif would have known that Loki was Odin.
Yeah.
So send her off on a mission.
Right.
So that's the way to explain why she's not there if they ever use her.
Reference her.
That's what only thing. My other little thing, again, this has to do with the Warriors 3. I don't mind that they were shanked.
Yeah.
But, and I don't mind how quick it was. It makes Hela look strong,
right.
which is great.
Right.
Hela looks badass as all hell in that movie. But Thor is supposed to be best friends with these three, and they never referenced
and
the rest of the movie.
He didn't seem to care.
Didn't ask.
Yep.
Didn't say, hey, where's my buddies?
Yep.
Hi, did they make it? There could have been a cool scene like at the end when the major fight battle with him and Thor, Helen and Thor, she could have been like, oh, you're gonna, get the same fate as your friends, your best friends.
Right.
Something that would have pushed them.
Yeah.
Because the death meant a lot in the beginning of the movie, and then towards the end, it meant nothing because it wasn't used.
They didn't refer back to it at all.
So it just, maybe they'll have deleted scenes, or maybe they'll have something later on, but I get it. He's more focused on saving Asgard.
Right.
But kind of weird that they never mentioned it. That's my only two really problems with the movie.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts of the movie is something that anybody who doesn't read the comic books wouldn't pick up on. And even a lot of people who do read the comic books wouldn't pick up on because it's an older book. But with the Executioner at the end, when he's fighting with the machine guns,
that's badass.
That's a callback to an old comic book story where he's actually teamed with Thor. They're in hell. They're trying to escape Hela, and she's got her zombies coming at him, and he's got these two machine guns, and he gives up his life to save everybody else, let them escape while he's shooting them down. It was, and it kind of reminded me of 300, where it was a straight from the panel picture.
Yeah.
Of that, and I love that. As soon as I saw the machine guns at the very beginning when he was
you knew
flirting with the girls and everything, I'm like, oh, that's awesome that they even referenced it. But then when they actually used that part of the story in the movie, that was great. I also liked, and this was like for maybe 30 seconds, the Matt Damon cameo.
Oh my god! All right,
Matt Damon is Loki. How's that?
I guess I have one more problem with the movie. I want to know if he survived.
Yeah.
Was he one of the Asgardians that got in there? Back to the Executioner. I feel like I'm actually looking at the picture with the machine guns right now.
That's actually a reimagining of the picture.
Which is really cool. But, he kind of has always been in love with Enchantress.
So why was he hanging around Hela?
I think it was another thing where they weren't going to introduce two females. And obviously, Hela's not actually his sister in the comics. That was changed. Usually it's that Angela who's in heaven.
Actually, I believe the original story was because Angela's new to Marvel. Angela started in Spawn.
Yeah.
Over in Image Comics.
But
she came over to Marvel and was his sister.
Which he did not know about.
I believe Hela actually is Odin's daughter.
Yeah. But, yeah, Enchantress, Executioner was always a villain, but in this movie they didn't even make him seem like a villain. The whole movie he was like didn't want to kill anyone. Whatever, he was still cool. I thought he was a cool character. It kind of sucks that they killed him off so early.
Yeah.
I get it. He died a hero.
Right.
But I hate maybe he comes back from Thanos.
Yeah.
As actually a bad guy.
Maybe.
I just I love these movies. But I feel like some characters just don't get time.
Yeah.
Quick deaths,
Yeah.
You get the cool callback to the comics, and
Another really, really good part of that movie was the Doctor Strange scene.
Oh, that's cool.
That was great. And that was all done with practical effects, I found out.
Yeah.
Which is really good. There was none of the high-tech stuff. It was just, basically, they just moved them from where they were, walked them over to the other part of the house, put them there, had Thor do a little wobbly thing, and just Doctor Strange standing there, and then they just started shooting again. And that's pretty cool that they did that all with practical effects, and it was just a really funny scene.
Who is your favorite character, new character in the movie?
That's tough. That's tough because I like different guys for different reasons. Because I really liked Valkyrie. I thought she was really good in it.
She was really bad.
I liked Korg. I
I
thought
was
he
just
was
gonna
a
say,
riot.
Korg was really funny.
Yeah.
Hey, guy. Meek's dead.
Oh,
he's alive!
He was funny. That was actually the director. You know?
Yeah, he played 4 different parts in there.
He did.
So Korg actually plays a big part in the Planet Hulk storyline.
He does.
So basically, that whole storyline that was going on with Thor was the Hulk part.
Yeah, it was Planet Hulk.
Which is
cool. It was their way around making a Hulk solo film.
I mean, you know why they can't make a Hulk solo film, right?
Well, it's distribution rights.
It's Paramount still owns it, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I really like Korg. He just kind of had that good humor.
He was pretty fun.
The revolution has begun. You know, he's just. I actually want to see it again Friday. Yeah. Hopefully. But I think we've kind of gone on a tangent.
I wouldn't mind seeing it again. But yeah, so
it was really good.
That's Thor. We should probably move along. But,
skip past this.
2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up, I believe. You gave it a thumbs up. I gave it a thumbs up. Great movie. And then the only other thing I had for TV as a movie, I don't know if you have more, is Justice League. The DC movies have stayed away really from those post-credits stickers. Yeah. Justice League has one.
Oh, really?
Post-credits scene.
Probably Darkseid.
I'm guessing it's either going to be Darkseid or they've been getting ragged on a lot for, stealing Marvel's thing and whatever. So they may not do that because that's how they introduced Thanos. He might actually be at the end of the film. I think if he's not in the film itself, I think it's going to be Green Lantern.
Oh, that'd be cool.
There's rumors around saying that he's actually going to be a big part of the film itself. Which, if that's the case,
then they cast someone and we didn't figure it out.
That's amazing because that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
but
I would love. We actually need a surprise at some point.
Yeah. Well, and I hope they're not using Superman returning as a surprise because he's not in any of the trailers.
Oh, we know he's coming back.
And everybody knows he's coming back. So I think Green Lantern showing up at some point.
They've been really good on not showing any set things.
Right.
With him in it, really.
Yep.
But
he's teasing it himself on his Twitter.
Yeah.
He's the black suit and stuff like that. But yeah, so Justice League does have a post-credit scene, so don't leave the theater until you see it. I don't get it. Week. People still leave Marvel movies after it ends.
Like half the people next to me all got up and left. I'm looking at them like, do you not watch these movies?
Right. It's like, by now that these movies have these post-credits.
Yeah.
Stay the extra 15 minutes. It's not going to ruin your life.
Oh. So, that comes out next week.
Yep.
I mean, we have the normal shows that we watch every week.
Yeah.
That
Supergirl was pretty good. I know you haven't
I missed that one.
It's just more
of rain,
more rain coming into the story. They used I don't remember his name in the show, but the guy that played Talbot on S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
They used him as the big bad this week. It was an
kind
okay
of interesting
episode.
that he's in it.
Yeah, it was Adrian Pensar's his name.
Yeah.
It was an okay episode. It was more story for Rain than it was anything else. Which is alright. I don't know the character.
You gotta build up a villain. Hopefully she actually gets a villain that matters. That's all.
Yeah. Flash brought in Elongated Man.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that was good.
I didn't really like this episode, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Oh, women power shit. I'm sorry, women. I just can't get into it. Yeah. Like, it just wasn't what I watched the show for.
Yeah,
and I don't want to see Felicity more than I have to see her.
I enjoyed the episode. I did. Although that guy with the eye thing was
creepy.
I don't even know who that is. I don't know if
it was
character.
I mean, I guess I kind of like to see Killer Frost power more.
Yeah,
it was kind of cool.
Yeah. So that was Flash.
I mean, the Gifted, still great. Still love it.
I haven't watched the whole episode. I started to, but
watch it.
Me and my wife.
It's really good.
Talking about something we had
I think it's a 20-episode season, but I'm not 100% sure.
2020.
So it's cool. Like, I really like it. Yep. They're hitting on it.
So it is a great show. I mean, I got up to the point where Polaris started training the kids, and then the mother came in and stopped them. That's why I had to stop the episode. But that's looking really, really good. Polaris is a great character. It was a little weird looking, but that's a different story.
Well, I didn't get to Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends was good.
Yeah.
I mean, Damien Dark is back.
Yeah. I heard that his daughter is going to be a villain in the season.
Was that his daughter? Because
it's a blonde woman.
No,
older woman. Older woman.
Yeah,
I believe that.
Mid-30s.
I read an article that his daughter's going to be a villain this season.
Yeah.
So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. But he came back. The story was kind of cool because it was 1800s England, and it was vampires and stuff. But the vampires wound up being someone draining blood for Damien Dark to bring him back to life.
That's cool.
But no, it was a decent episode. I like that new girl that's in it. With the necklace.
Yeah, it's cool.
She's hot. Cool.
I mean, Gotham storyline, the Pig storyline.
Yeah.
Professor Pig,
yeah,
or is it?
It's Professor Pig. Yeah.
That is a great storyline.
It's weird.
It's cool.
It's weird, but it's good.
You know,
it's
and
good.
I remember I turned it on a couple weeks ago, and Kelly was trying to watch it by herself to catch up, and she was like, "No." Because it was like it looked like a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, I can't watch this by myself.
Yeah.
That was that one and the Scarecrow one. She had to turn it on. She's like, I can't watch this without you.
Yeah.
So I think Gotham's been pretty cool with their little mini arcs. Yeah. It almost reminds me of Shield last year, where Shield did 4 mini arcs, where they the
Shield ones went a little longer.
Yeah, they went longer. Yeah. But I like this. It's not just a character for one episode.
Right.
It's Pig's now going on, I think, the 3rd episode.
This will be his 3rd episode
tonight.
This week. Yeah.
And I love the I don't know who the actor was, but he was creepy on the set.
He's good. He's good. Big. What else is there? Oh, Arrow.
Arrow's
still don't like Diggle.
Yeah.
As Arrow.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
I think Diggle's more gonna be that storyline that he's taking drugs to be able to shoot.
Yeah.
Injections.
Well, I wonder if they're gonna try and run that like the Speedy drugs story in the comics.
It'd be pretty cool.
They don't have Hal Jordan to be on the other side with Ollie, but I just think that Diggle as Arrow just isn't doing. I mean, I liked how Oliver was Overwatch for the episode though.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
I just want Felicity to go.
It's a step back into him getting onto the team.
Yeah.
And then he starts telling him to do stuff, and he's like, "Oh, sorry,
that's not nice." This week's supposed to be him. He's back with Deathstroke.
Yeah.
So I think they're actually going to be somewhere else, and it's going to be just them two for most of the episode, which is really cool. I love them two together.
Yeah. Manu Bennett.
I love. Really I love them on the island scenes.
Yep.
So that's cool. And then the other one, the last one basically of the week is Inhumans.
Yeah.
I think this is their final episode this week.
This week will be the final episode.
Last week was pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm enjoying it. I mean, I'm not. It's
not the best.
It's not the best, but it's not as bad as everybody was going to be.
I'm just happy it's over because then the Shield comes
Yeah,
back.
and Shield comes back. But the thing with Inhumans is, I think people read too much into the one that was the first 2 episodes in IMAX. Shouldn't have been done. People went into that expecting it to be like a movie.
Movie quality.
But you had to expect that not to be like.
Well, you also had story versus a movie which has a conclusion.
Right.
So these people go to movie theaters to watch a movie, and there's no conclusion.
Right.
You know.
Right. I do have one more TV show actually that I don't even know if you watch it, but I watch it with my wife. Once Upon a Time. Do you watch that?
No, I don't really watch it.
I've been watching it since season 1. It's actually a really good show. It's the Disney universe in real life.
Yeah.
But they're living in real life.
Is it on ABC?
Yeah.
That's how they get away with using
right, because Disney owns it. But this season, I'm not liking it. I mean, I've liked this the entire time. There's characters that I really enjoyed. This season, they basically rebooted everything.
Really?
They moved to Seattle. They were in Maine. Now they moved to Seattle. It's not all the characters you knew. There's a new girl as Cinderella who is the worst Cinderella ever. She's just a little crybaby bitch. Where Cinderella is supposed to be a strong character.
Yeah.
But they didn't make her into a strong character. Now, every time she does her little bitchy whiny thing, eventually she turns around and is like, makes the right decision in the end. But she just annoys me. And they got Henry, who was the kid during the first however many seasons it was. Now he's grown up and he's got a kid, which is basically a role reversal because in the original stuff, he was a kid and he found his mom, and this little girl finds him. So it's just not been very, very good this year. I'm gonna watch the whole season because
you invested in the show.
What happens too is in the first season, and they did it again in like the 4th or 5th season. There's a curse that was over the town. They didn't know that they were fairy tale characters, so they were just living normal lives like you and me. And then the curse gets broken. this is the same thing. They're all cursed. The little girl knows that they're all fairy tale characters. Nobody believes her. But the curse has just been on this town for we're 8-9 episodes into the season and they're still all cursed and nobody knows that they're fairy tale characters, and it's just boring.
Drag on.
It's just drag.
Oh, I guess I do have one more show to talk about. You kind of got me to think about it. Is The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So now you're saying it's dragging this year. I've always loved The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna watch it because I'm vested in it. But I'm behind like 3 episodes right now. I watched the first episode of the season, and I haven't brought myself to watch the other 2.
Well, my wife does watch that show. I don't, but I was actually editing the podcast last week, and she was catching up on episodes herself. But the last 2 episodes, I don't know if there's been one yet this week, but the last 2 episodes, there was a lot of action in it. I wasn't really paying attention to it. But...
That's what someone told me, so I am going to catch up to it. I just have so many shows going on that it's kind of gone to the back burner.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like popping to me. So I will catch up. Again, vested, kind of like you're vested in Once Upon a Time.
Right.
You watched it since the beginning. I watched The Walking Dead since the beginning, so I'm going to watch it.
Right. There's 2 new releases and then 1 expanded release this week. 2 new releases. First one's Daddy's Home 2.
That looks kind of funny.
The first one was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a super funny movie, but
That's
anytime you put Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg into the same movie, it's going to be good.
And then add John Cena in it? You can't see me? Come on.
But I thought, like The Other Guys was, I think, their first movie.
That was kind of funny.
There's no scene in any movie that I've
I'm
ever
Peacock.
seen.
You let me fly!
No, there's no other scene that's made me laugh as much as the lion versus the tuna scene from Other Guys. If you don't remember it, go back and watch it again. It is the funniest thing. So then they were in Daddy's Home. I gotta watch that. Then I watched Daddy's Home, and again, just makes you laugh so hard.
I like
this one looks really good. You got it's Christmas time.
Mel Gibson.
The 2 of them are trying to put on a good Christmas for the kids. And then you got Mel Gibson and John Lithgow coming in as their fathers.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson's the bad to the bone dad for Mark Wahlberg, and John Lithgow is the lovey-dovey, touchy-feely, weird dad for Will Ferrell. So I think that those personalities are both really good actors. I just think this movie is going to be really, really good. Something I'm going to want to see. I may not see it in the theater. I don't typically go see comedies in the theater. I usually wait till they come out.
I typically don't see any movies in the theater unless it's...
But so that's one that I'm going to have to catch once it gets to DVD or cable or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Second one is Murder on the Orient Express.
Interesting looking.
Looks really good to me.
Looks like Clue.
It's basically a little bit. I mean, it's an Agatha Christie novel that it's based off of. I mean, there was, I believe that there was an older movie on it, but it's 13 strangers, and one guy's trying to solve the puzzle as to what's going on. Who killed who?
He's probably gonna be
not who. Obviously, they know who's dead, but who killed them?
Yeah.
So
they put weapons in front of them and a table, and then try to make someone kill someone, basically.
See, I didn't see that.
I just saw a video, a trailer.
But I mean, it looks really good. It's a movie. It's not often that there's 2 movies that come out in a week that I'm actually interested in. But this one I might actually see in the theater. This is the type of movie that I like to see. It looks like it's got action in it, a lot of action. Those are the movies I see in the theater because I like having that cinema feel to action movies. I mean, I get some of it at home. I have the surround sound.
You think that's going to be more of an action? I think it's going to be like more of a mystery with story.
It is, but it looks like that. I mean, it all happens on a train. I mean, there's going to be action somewhere.
One sentence scenes, very hard to follow.
Yeah. And then the last one this week is just an expansion. It's Roman J. Israel Esquire. It's that new Denzel movie. Huge Denzel fan, one of my favorite actors. This movie does not look good to me.
I don't know what it's about.
He's a lawyer who, I guess his mentor dies or something, and they ask him to take his place. And then he starts doing all these bad things, like he steals money and does things like that. It just doesn't, I mean, and I could have that all wrong. That's just what it looks like to me when I saw the trailer when I went to go see Thor. It just doesn't do it for me. I'm just not interested.
No.
This isn't even I'll be sitting at home in 3 years looking through TV. Oh, Denzel's in it. I'll watch it. That's not even gonna happen.
I haven't even seen anything on it.
Yeah.
But they other two, like, they definitely are movies that I kind of want to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, hopefully if I have time this weekend, I'll get out to see Murder on the Orient Express. Daddy's Home, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that when it does come out.
That's definitely an at-home, funny type of movie.
I mean, I enjoy laughing, in the theater, but like with Thor, I just don't. I mean, it might just be my cheapness, but I don't find it to be any more effective to see a comedy in the theater than to see a comedy at home.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't need to spend $13.
All the movies coming out all the time,
right?
You gotta pick and choose.
I'd rather keep the money, and I mean, go see Justice League, which I've already got my tickets. I
gotta do that too.
Ago. But
speaking of next week,
can't wait. It's gonna be good.
And Punisher.
Yeah,
so
Punisher
we got a good week next week.
We also have, I don't know if you're going, but we got the WKO for Dice Masters.
Yeah, I don't think I can make it.
I'm going.
It's on the 18th.
I'm gonna lose hard, but I'm going.
Is it on the 18th?
Saturday, whatever the Saturday is.
Yeah, so I got my All-Star game. So, yeah.
So next week's a busy week.
Busy week next week.
We'll be watching. We're going to move on to my classic comic storyline. This week's kind of a big one. I mean, not story length-wise, just impact-wise. Marvel versus DC. Doesn't get much bigger than that. Basically, you got the two universes are entities. They're these brothers who embody their respective universes. Then they don't know that each other exists, but in this story they become aware of each other's existence, and they challenge each other to a series of duels with their respective characters. The losing universe would then cease to exist at that point. There was an out of universe component where fans got to vote on the main fights. I think it was 11 fights that they got to vote on. And those fights were Aquaman versus Namor, which Aquaman wound up winning, which I'm not sure I agree with that, but that's how it worked. And I think Namor's a bit stronger.
Yeah.
And I mean, Aquaman, is as much as it gets made fun of, does control all the animals in the sea. Mm-hmm. And with his strength and all that, I guess that could give him a leg up in that. Next one was Elektra versus Catwoman.
Oh.
Doesn't matter who wins that. It's just a good fight.
It's funny
that
you say that, Elektra versus Catwoman, and you say who wins, Elektra.
Elektra wins, yeah.
So, a couple of days ago, I was on a group, Marvel group, and there was a hypothetical of Catwoman versus Black Widow.
Yeah.
And people were trying to really say Catwoman would win.
Yeah.
And they went on a tangent. And everyone called people dumb that thought Black Widow would win. Well, Black Widow she could beat most people, and she has super soldier serum at times.
That's your Batman fan
yeah.
right there. So, so next one was Flash versus Quicksilver, which is, I mean, unfortunately for Quicksilver, he's just not the Flash.
No, Flash is fast.
He runs fast still. He can vibrate.
Quicksilver got killed by bullets.
I mean, that's in the movie. But the Flash is the Flash. The guy can basically control time if he wants to. Robin versus Jubilee,
which is weird.
Who the hell cares? But Robin wound up winning, which I'm glad happened. Jubilee's got powers, but Robin's trained by Batman. Jubilee had no chance in that. One of the big ones was Silver Surfer versus Green Lantern.
Interesting.
Good choice on the winner here is Silver Surfer. Green Lantern's great, super powerful. Silver Surfer controls molecular levels of things. So I mean, there's no way Lantern could beat him. You got Thor versus Shazam. Now, Thor wins, which makes 100% sense for one reason. What changes Billy Batson into Shazam? Lightning.
His word. Oh, yeah.
So, who controls lightning? And I know it still takes the whole Shazam, he's got to yell and whatever, but Thor beat him, and it made sense. The biggest one in the whole thing was Superman versus Hulk. Superman's an obvious winner there. As much as I like the Hulk, and the Hulk gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, Superman can just throw him out into outer space, and Hulk can't fly. That's not how it worked, but that's
back to the Thor. Thor could almost probably beat anybody. Thor's probably, if you just watch the movie, he's the god of thunder.
Well, he also goes into his blood rage, which they haven't shown in the movies yet. Once that happens, I mean, he beat Thanos, I believe, when he was in his blood rage.
Thor's he's one of the most powerful characters.
Right. So then from there, we had Spider-Man versus Superboy, which I was actually surprised by the outcome. Well, I wasn't surprised by the outcome because it was fan voting.
I'm kind of more surprised by the...
I'm surprised that Spider-Man beat him.
I'm surprised by the matchup.
Yeah, it's a strange matchup, but all these well, actually that's not even true. They say all these matchups led to something later, but they really didn't.
Superboy's half human though too, isn't he?
No, Superboy's a clone of Superman.
Yeah.
So that's why I was surprised that Spider-Man beat him. But Spider-Man's Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, in Young Justice, he's half human. No, that's not. Is that Superboy?
Yeah, that's a different Superboy.
Yeah, but he's half human, half kryptonite.
Right. I mean,
kryptonite.
I guess the Superboy in the comics that was in this was a clone of just Superman. The one in Young Justice was Superman and Lex.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna skip that one. Then we had Wolverine versus Lobo, which the outcome was stupid. The fight in the book was stupid. It all took place off panel. You didn't get to see any of it. Really? That would have been one of the best visual fights to have.
Yeah, it says he beat him in a brutal bar fight.
Brutal bar fight that you couldn't see.
Largely that panel.
Yeah. So Wolverine won. I don't understand how Wolverine beats Lobo.
He can beat everybody. Wolverine doesn't. You rip him apart and he goes back together.
Right, but you rip him apart, the fight's over. He comes back later and fights you, but that fight's over. And Lobo is strong enough to do that. But anyways, and then there was Storm versus Wonder Woman, which surprised me. Not the fight. The fight makes sense because you got a goddess, and Storm, and you got an Amazon, so it makes sense. The fact that Storm won surprised me. Now, Storm is super powerful. She can control the weather. That means a lot. Wonder Woman is Superman in a female body. She just doesn't have the heat vision, but she's got the magical stuff with her. So I was surprised by that.
I'm a Marvel fan, but Wonder Woman hands down wins this fight.
Yeah.
This is fan voting.
Yep.
It even says that she at points in the comics didn't she hold Thor's hammer?
Yep.
Because she's worthy.
Yep.
But drops it to fight.
Yep. So then the last one, and I skipped it before, just because it's a very polarizing fight. Batman versus Captain America. There is no way in hell Batman can win that fight.
Batman's Batman.
You know why? Because they're both just as good as each other fighting. They're different styles.
They won't kill each other either.
And they won't kill each other, different styles of fighting. So it comes down to the intangibles. Batman's intangibles is a bunch of gadgets. Captain America's intangibles is the super soldier's serum, which gives him strength, speed, agility better than any man, including Batman. So they say Batman won, but he didn't really beat him in the fight.
Yeah.
He got knocked out by, what was it, like a drain pipe or something knocked him out. And Batman saved him.
From drowning.
But during the whole fight, they knew something was going on, too. And I mean, I was just going over the fights, but actually getting into the story of it, they knew something was going on. They were talking to each other the whole time saying, we can do this forever. This fight will never end. Blah, blah, blah. And so eventually he got knocked out.
It's fan voting. I wonder if they had the same amount of votes or close enough.
No, I think whoever won that fight, like with the fan votes, that's how the fight was going to go. It was going to be close the whole time. Because that's their fighting champions for each comic, each company. That's their fighter. I mean, yeah, you got Wolverine, but he's a scrapper, and stuff. So anyways, those are the battles. Now, while these battles are going on, you then have the two major entities in both realities being the Spectre, who's the vengeful hand of God, and the Living Tribunal, who is... he basically controls everything in reality in Marvel Comics. They go and try and stop these brothers from these fights, and they're not very successful. And then eventually the brothers decide, instead of destroying one of the universes, we're going to merge the universes. So they went together and they became the Amalgam Universe. Now that's a whole storyline for another time. That was a great, great concept.
Wasn't there a story where Batman Batman and Wolverine were fused together.
Yep, that was from Amalgam.
Yeah.
It was a Dark Claw. Cool looking character. The story wasn't so great, but the look was the best look out of all of them.
That's pretty cool.
But you had some cool characters like Doctor Strange Fate, which was Doctor Strange, Dr. Fate, and for some strange reason, Professor X. Not sure why he was put in there. You had Dark Claw, you had Super Soldier, which is Superman and Captain America. You had Bruce Wayne, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Since Logan was the Dark Claw, they needed to do something with Bruce Wayne, so he became Nick Fury. Basically, it was him and Nick Fury cross.
Wolverine and Superman.
That must have been a different
one.
But just a lot of cool, like Amazon was one of them. It was Storm and Wonder Woman.
Oh, that's cool.
Because now you get all of Wonder Woman's strengths with the controlling
of
the elements.
Wow,
it's
too powerful.
Yeah, it's too much. But then on the bad guy side, you had Thanos side.
Oh.
Thanos and Darkseid combined into one character.
No,
I mean, they're basically the same character anyways, but now you got them together. Then you had one of my favorites, Dr. Doomsday. Dr. Doom and Doomsday. So you've got the one thing that Dr. Doom is missing is super strength. So you put him in an indestructible super strength body, and I mean, there's nothing better than that. But some of the combinations were great, and Marvel vs. DC was a fun read. It's not one of the best stories ever.
Yeah,
but it's a fun read, and
it's got me interested.
Right, it's a cool thing where you got both companies coming together, which has happened in the past. Nothing really this big at this point in time. Since then, they've done JLA versus Avengers, which was an interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
But before this, there was only like one-shot things. It was like Superman meets Spider-Man. There was Titans and X-Men, where Darkseid and Dark Phoenix were the villains, which was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Then after came Green Lantern, Silver Surfer with Parallax, and who was it? I think it was Thanos again. Because Surfer's biggest enemy is Thanos.
I mean, everyone thinks that Marvel and DC actually hate each other, but it's the fanboys that hate each other. The comics actually have worked together in the past.
It's true, although they haven't recently because there has been some animosity
there has been.
Recently.
Actually, one of the head Marvel guys just went over to DC.
Yeah, I saw that.
But, I mean, it's us fanboys that make the problem.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely us that causes
I'm just happy we're getting all these movies and shows.
That's it. So that's the comic storyline of the week. Great read, Marvel vs. DC. It's not one of the best stories ever, but it's fun.
It looks cool.
And you have to go into it knowing that you're not going to get a classic novelization of a great story. You're going into it enjoying just the concept.
Even the cover looks pretty cool.
Yeah. The covers, they did a good job with the covers too.
It'd be funny if it weren't so pathetic. No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.
Alright, so that brings us to the top 10 comic book villains. That's my weekly top 10 this week. Everybody's going to know what my number one is. That's alright, we'll get there. Number 10, I'm going to start with Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
Not the Green Goblin, but Norman Osborn. He's been so much more lately that he's still a Green Goblin, but...
I mean, because he uses his business as well as part of his villainy.
Yep.
He's been Iron Patriot.
Yep, he was Iron Patriot for a while.
He tried to take over the Avengers.
Yep, he was, because they had the Dark Avengers that he was in charge of. He's into so many things, and he's very, very good at all of it. I mean, the guy, he's ruined so many people's lives, and including his son. He's just such a quality character, and there's so much good story behind him that he definitely deserves a spot on the list. Maybe higher than where he is, but in my opinion, I think he's in a good spot at number 10. Number 9 for me is Harvey Dent, Two-Face from Batman. I think it's a really interesting thing to have someone with a split personality be that good of a character, because he uses both. It's not like he's one of those guys with a split personality where he's just a nut job, which he is a little bit of a nut job, but he's not mad, you know.
If you would have asked me a few years ago, I probably would have had him higher on the list.
Yeah.
If you ask me about my top 10 now, I don't think he even makes my top 10.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I just think that his persona and his story, I mean, how he became Two-Face isn't the greatest. You know, he got some acid thrown on his face and he kind of went crazy. But after that, just the building of the character, the coin being so important to him, making all of his decisions, and he needs to follow the rules of the coin. You know, it's just such a good dichotomy with the character. You know, so after him, number 8 is Carnage.
Oh yeah.
So I go from someone who's not completely crazy to somebody who is
completely insane.
The second craziest character in all the comic books. Carnage is just awesome. I mean, this might just be one of those fanboy crushes, but I just love Carnage. I thought Maximum Carnage was one of the best stories. That's going to be one of my classic comic stories in a few weeks, where he's just a nut job, and he doesn't care. He just kills whoever he wants to kill, and he's funny, and he attracts.
It's insane.
He attracts other villains, like again in Maximum Carnage. He had Shriek and Doppelganger and Hobgoblin all helping him, and I mean he's just a great character. And Spider-Man can't beat him alone. Venom can't beat him alone. They need to team up or get other people to help. And he's just quality character. Number 7 is Deathstroke, the Terminator. He's on TV now, which is good. It's enjoyable, but not many villains can say that they can beat Batman in hand-to-hand combat. He can. He's done it.
He's also got some, serum strength too.
Not so much in the comics. It's not really the same. He does have something. I don't remember exactly what it is, to be honest. But he's just again a quality character, good backstory, and he's cool looking. I mean, you can't take that away from him either.
I mean, they basically based Deadpool off him.
Yeah, they did. But I actually liked it when he was in his own comic book. He was kind of a Punisher type, more so than a villain in that. But I liked his look better. He still had the same uniform, but he didn't wear the mask. I mean, he had an eye patch and the long white hair, and he just looked.
One of the biggest things about him is he utilizes 90% of his brain.
Oh yeah.
Power.
Yeah.
So he's smart. He's an expert marksman, skilled military tactician.
Yep.
And he's had superhuman strength, speed. He's a martial artist. He has it all. He's a total package.
Yeah.
He's like Lex Luthor.
Yeah. So that's Deathstroke. Again, really good character. Number 6 is Mr. Sinister from the X-Men. Character is ridiculously awesome. He's a geneticist. He's been around for hundreds of years. He was actually created by Apocalypse to become, one of Apocalypse's servants. Mm-hmm. He broke off from Apocalypse, went on to do his own thing. He's obsessed with the Summers genetic code. So, I mean, he created, Nate Gray in the Age of Apocalypse universe, and with DNA from both Jean Grey and Scott Summers, and he's just done so much influential stuff in the comic books. He's a really good villain, and his powers are he's indestructible unless he's being shot by Havoc or Cyclops, or probably Vulcan as well, who's another Summers. I don't know if they've ever actually interacted. That was in the time frame where I wasn't the biggest comic reader, when Vulcan was around. But I mean, you can't kill him. His body's malleable. He can shapeshift. He can shoot energy blasts, and he's almost as smart as Mr. Fantastic and Doctor Doom. He's that smart of a guy. But he's a great pick for number 6. Number 5. Darkseid. Now we're getting into the heavy hitters. Darkseid. You don't really need to say much about him.
No, he's awesome.
He's got the Omega effect, which is instant death, unless you're Superman, of course, because nothing can kill Superman except for a punch from Doomsday, which makes no sense. Mm-hmm. But so he runs his own planet. I mean, not many people can say they run their own planet. But Darkseid does, and he's got his minions and everything, and just a really, really cool character. Number 4, Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul he's been around forever, literally. I mean, the guy's been existing
thousands and thousands of years.
He's got his Lazarus Pit. He's got the League of Assassins.
And he's smart. He's been through almost everything.
Yep. Another guy. I mean, he took down the entire Justice League with Tower of Babel. Anybody who can take down the whole Justice League that's saying a lot. It's not like you're taking down the X-Men, who, don't get me wrong, are a good team. It's not the 7 best characters in the universe, which is what the Justice League is. Number 3, and this is where people start to question, but number 3 is the Joker. Not that he's at number 3, that he's not higher is what people would question.
If you ask almost 100 comic book fans, you're probably getting 90 to 95% people going to say Joker.
Possibly.
90%.
Possibly. But I mean, it's a Joker. I mean, the guy's great.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know why, to be honest with you. I mean, he's
smart.
There's something about him that just makes you love him as a character. And it's not his story. His story isn't much. He was just a guy who got dropped in a vat of chemicals and became the Joker. Yippee.
The thing is you don't actually know a backstory. You don't know who the Joker is.
Well, I mean, I guess now you do. I guess they did it in the new stuff, which I haven't read. But I mean, he's a Joker, and the laugh is classic. I also think something that made the Joker so popular was Mark Hamill. His voicing him during Batman the Animated Series. It was amazing. And I mean, Jack Nicholson did a good job in the first Batman movie for its time. I thought that was big for his popularity, and even Cesar Romero back in the '60s on the old Batman TV show. He was hammy, but he was funny, and he's just a character that's been around forever, and you just love him. You don't need a reason. You just love the Joker. And obviously, not to leave this out, the best performance of the Joker ever, in my opinion, Heath Ledger.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when I first saw the pictures of him as the Joker, I'm like, this is gonna be terrible. Like,
when I saw the casting of Heath Ledger,
you're right. It's like this guy, the guy from A Knight's Tale, that was like singing around and stuff.
10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah, but he was amazing, and he made you love the Joker even more. Number 2 is Magneto. Now, to me, Magneto isn't necessarily a villain. He's dubbed a villain, which is why he's on the list. He, to me, is Malcolm X to Professor X is Martin Luther King. They both want what's best for their people. Kind. They just have different ways of going about it. And Magneto's is more aggressive. So that's kind of what makes me like him so much. Also, I mean, I feel kind of a connection with that character too. He's a Holocaust survivor. My family's Jewish. I mean, not that should really make him my favorite character or anything, but it kind of puts a little different perspective on it. You know what I mean? He's been through things that will make you believe what he believes. That's just how it is. And he's just he's just a great character. And again, he's another one that gets a lot of followers in his stories. One of my other favorite characters who isn't on this list just because he doesn't have the longevity is Exodus, who is immensely powerful, could probably beat Magneto in 3 seconds, but he followed Magneto because he believed in Magneto. And that's what he does. He doesn't make like forcefully, but just by being him, he makes people believe in him and what he stands for. And he's good friends with Professor X, as bitter villains as they are, they're still best friends. So that's Magneto. Number 1, coming as no surprise to anybody on the planet.
But he's still top 3 in anyone, most
is Doctor Doom. I could sit here for probably 2 hours alone just going over Doctor Doom's history, but I'm just going to give you the brief version. So, his mother was a gypsy, and his mother and father were gypsies. She dabbled in the dark arts. While she was pregnant, she did that. He got a little touch of the demon in him. Not in him, but he got touched by the demon, which later turns out to be Mephisto. So then he's born. So he's got this magical thing in him. So as he gets older, his mother again is still dabbling with the dark arts. She winds up getting captured by Mephisto, and her soul is now in hell. So she's dead. So he's being raised by his father. His father's a doctor. So the Count of Latveria comes to his father and asks him for his help to cure his wife, because his wife is sick. He can't do anything about it because she's just too sick. Sometimes that happens. If someone's too sick, they're gonna die. So the wife dies. So the Count sends his men to go kill Dr. Doom's father. So they escape into the mountains. While they're in the mountains hiding, it's, cold, snowy, whatever, and his father would always, when they slept, he'd wrap his arms around Victor to keep him warm at night. Well, one night Victor wakes up and his father's frozen, dead on his body. So now he blames the Count, so he wants to get back at the Count. So he starts building these machines and stuff, like these little things, because he's always been intelligent too, and he starts tinkering around with things. And then he goes after the Count, and he fails the first time. But with all of his tinkering and stuff, the American government hears about his abilities and his genius and all these things he can create, so they bring him over to America before he can get caught by the Count for trying to go after him. So he goes there, they put him into Empire State University with Reed Richards, that's where he meets him.
They become friends, right?
They
kind of like...
Reed becomes friends with him, but he doesn't really become friends with Reed. And actually, that's not even really true. Reed tries, but it's never successful.
They're just kind of competing against each other.
Right. So, but while he's in ESU, he's working for the government as well, making all these gadgets. Well, he's using their equipment to make his own machine, so he can then use that machine to go into hell to try and get his mother back. Because that's his whole thing, is he's trying to get his mother's soul back for his entire life. So he's doing that, and Reed comes into his, not office, but his room, and he sees this machine, and he sees this equation. He's like, this equation's off, you need to change this. And Victor's like, you're an idiot, get out of here. Not those words, but telling him that he's smarter and to leave. So he gets in the machine, and he goes to hell. So while in hell, now he's still young, he's still in college, so he's still pretty young. So Mephisto beats him and sends him back to Earth, and the machine explodes. Now, the original story was he was just trying to use this machine for something else, and the experiment blew up in his face. But this is like kind of the redone story that they did it was a 4-part series. So anyways, so then he comes back, the government finds out what he was doing, Reed found out what he was doing, and then he gets sent back to Latveria. Well, instead of going to Latveria, he goes into the mountains again, and he starts living with these monks. And these monks, they're teaching him whatever monks teach you, but they're teaching him this stuff, and he wants to go back to Latveria and take over Latveria from this guy who's still in charge. So they build him his suit, and they make his mask, and before the mask cools, he says, you know what, no, screw you, I'm putting it on now, I don't need to wait. Puts the mask on, it melts to his face. So now he's horribly scarred. He had one scar on his face that made him think he was imperfect, because he's doomed and he needs to be perfect. So then now he's got the mask melted to his face. And then he goes to Latveria. When he gets to Latveria, he goes and fights the Count. He easily defeats the Count. So now he takes over Latveria at that point, and time goes on. He's got his Boris was one of his gypsy tribe members. He becomes a servant, and then he shows up years later, and he goes and he fights the Fantastic Four. That's when you get into the Doctor Doom's current story stuff. Well, the misconception is everybody in Latveria fears him, which is why they follow him, because he's a scary dude. Well, he and Doctor Strange team up, and, well, I should probably start that at the beginning. There's a story called Triumph and Torment. I think I told you this before, where there's a challenge to see who the Sorcerer Supreme is, like every so many years. The Vishanti, who's a magical group, put out a call to all the mystics in the world. And Doctor Doom, having that little bit of the touch of the demon in him, hears it because he's got some sort of mystic abilities. So he goes, his armor can mimic any position he sees, and that's what Marvel spellcasting is. It's all positioning and words. So his armor copies everything Doctor Strange and all the other guys are doing. So he comes in second in this competition. After Doctor Strange, of course, because Doctor Strange is Sorcerer Supreme. So with that, he gets to ask the Sorcerer Supreme one favor. Coming in second, he gets to do that. So he asks him to help him go into hell to rescue his mother's soul. Doctor Strange has to do it. It's just the way it is. So they go to Latveria, and now Doctor Strange has telepathic abilities with his magic. And he starts reading the minds of the people of Latveria. They genuinely love him as a ruler. They're not scared of him because what people don't understand is
he treats them good.
Is what he does. Not everything he does, but a lot of the things he does in the world are to help Latveria prosper and be a good place to live. So I mean, I know I've gone on a long story of his history, but it's just kind of to show that there's more to the guy.
He's got character. He's got
He's got a lot of history.
He's not just bad to be bad.
Right, exactly. He's got a purpose behind everything he does. He doesn't just go kill people to kill people, although he did that once and it was pretty crazy. But you know, he's another one that I put him in the same boat as Magneto, where he's not really a villain to me. I mean, he's a villain, obviously, because the things he does may not be perceived as good to everybody. But to me, he's just somebody who's doing the best for his people. And if it helps him get ahead in the long run, it does. You know?
Your top couple things. Your top 10, maybe I would have had a few different people. I was a little shocked that you didn't have Venom in it.
Yeah,
Venom is probably my favorite villain.
Yeah. My list was a lot longer than 10 that I had to parse it down.
Yeah, it's hard.
And he was on there.
Venom's one of my favorite. I'm kind of shocked that you didn't have like Loki on it. Loki's one of my favorite.
Yeah, but he's always been around, but his popularity just started with the movies.
I liked Red Skull.
Red Skull was on my list. I had to cut him out of it.
Yeah. I'd have Carnage a little higher.
Yeah.
Carnage is one of my favorite.
Yep.
Which brings me to the point of the most recognizable comic book villains all come from two different characters in Marvel and DC.
Well, Batman and Spider-Man.
Batman and Spider-Man.
Because that's the poster boys.
They just have so many comic characters.
Yep.
You know, but like, you know, I love Carnage. I like Deathstroke.
Well, I have to say, Batman, as much as I'm not a Batman fan, Batman's Rogues Gallery is one of the best in comics.
Oh my god,
you know,
it's one of the best.
It
They
goes
just
beyond just the guys.
They just have so many, and that's why like people complain about Arrow using them. Like they have so much.
I've got 3.5. I mean, I put that stroke more as just an overall DC guy. But
3 of those guys are kind of
the Batman guys.
That not only, but 3 of those characters between Doctor Doom, Magneto, and Deathstroke have all been on the good side at some point too.
Oh yeah.
And technically Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
But like people like Galactus is pretty cool. Like you being a Fantastic Four guy.
Well, I'm not a Fantastic Four guy. I'm a Doctor Doom.
All right.
I actually hate the Fantastic Four.
I'm shocked
except for Johnny Storm.
I'm shocked that you had Lex Luthor off it.
I think he's terrible.
I hate Superman, but I think Lex Luthor's brain. Yeah. You know, but he probably wouldn't be in my top 10. He'd probably be 10. You know, just fighting. Doctor Doom would definitely be in it because he's main. Honestly, Thanos after raiding like Infinity Gauntlet and stuff like that. Yeah. Love Thanos.
I had Thanos. I think Thanos was 11. I mean,
yeah, it's tough. Like it's tough to really get a top 10. Yeah. We ought to do a top 10 Marvel. Comic heroes one day. That's gonna be hard.
That'll be on.
But I like your top 10. Maybe I probably wouldn't have Ra's al Ghul out there. I don't know. He's just never got me. Like, I get like why, but like I like Loki because I like the mystic arts and I like the
See, one thing about Roz, and it's funny to say that you wouldn't have him on there because most people do. Most people do just because of the things he's accomplished.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I think I would have Thanos on there over him because of what Thanos has done and how much he means to the.
You know why I put Roz over Thanos? Because Thanos doesn't need to put a lot of effort into doing what he does.
He's just
he
so
can just
strong.
do it. Roz, I mean, he's immortal basically. I mean, he's not. He can be killed, but he just gets brought right back. He's just a normal dude, just like Batman.
Yeah,
know?
I mean another one too, like Sinestro. He's big.
Yeah.
He's maybe not top 10. Stuff like that. Like Mystique in the comics a lot better than Mystique in the movie.
Indeed, but she still probably wouldn't even make my top 50.
I've always loved. I saw this on IGN, and I couldn't believe. I've always loved Juggernaut.
Yeah, but he's not a great villain. He's a fun villain.
Yeah, he's
but
fun.
He's not great.
But yeah, I was looking on this list, and Carnage is in the 90s.
Yep, the one you're passing right now is one that a lot of people will probably. That a lot of comic book readers, not the movie people, not the comic book movie people, but the actual comic book readers, would give me a hard time for leaving off the list. Is Ozymandias from Watchmen.
Yeah,
I didn't like him.
And
Everybody loves
I
him.
didn't really follow the Watchmen, so
yeah.
It's funny actually if you think about it. Like Shredder is actually a comic villain.
He is,
and
he is.
Venom, just to me, like my favorite.
Again,
my favorite.
Venom's, but
he's always he's an anti-hero.
Right. I was just gonna say, the real reason I didn't put him on the list is because he's not really a villain anymore.
And before Age of Ultron, Ultron's still one of my favorite.
Ultron's good. Ultron's a good one. Apocalypse is one that I struggled not putting on the list.
Because when you talked about this Mr. Sinister in Apocalypse, I wanted to be like, dude, like I remember Apocalypse from the X-Men game back in Sega. He was the bad guy, like you had to beat him. Apocalypse. Plus, I loved the show X-Men, like the cartoon.
Yep.
The '95. Apocalypse was the badass.
He was.
So
there's a lot of things people don't know about Apocalypse too. Like he created Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know that he created Exodus. Exodus was a knight of the Round Table, and actually I don't know if he was actually on the Round Table, but he was a knight in that time period. And Apocalypse found him and gave him these powers, and he wound up going dormant for years and years and years and years, and he eventually came out in the 90s in the story, with all of his powers as Exodus. But yeah, Apocalypse created him. Apocalypse obviously made Angel into Archangel.
Yeah.
But Apocalypse has done all this stuff.
Badass.
But
I liked.
And I mean, he probably could have made my list. The more I look at it, maybe he could have bumped out Norman, maybe. But
I mean,
it's just preference.
Dr. Octopus is another one of my favorites too.
I've never been a fan. He's kind of lame.
Yeah.
He's a smart dude with some arms.
But it's tough to make a top 10. I mean, like I said, two things I was a little shocked. I was a little shocked Venom wasn't on it, and Apocalypse, definitely.
Apocalypse is the one that you can make an argument over the last two on my list, but I just think going by personal preference, I guess, and Apocalypse is one of my favorite guys. He's probably my fifth or sixth favorite character, and that's heroes and villains. But
how about this? We're gonna post this on a comic book site, right?
Yep.
We want to know what your top 10 is. Give us your top 10.
Let's see.
We'll have a little discussion about this.
Yeah, sounds good.
I'll do a top 10. I'll put it on there, and then I want to see what everybody's is.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good?
Alright, so with the top 10 being done, we're going to move along on to our game of the week. This week is Mysterium. Mysterium's it's a really fun game. I mean, and it's fun for all ages. My mother, who's 72,
Wow.
72 years old, loves this game. All the way down to my niece loves this game, and she's in her 20s. So what the game is basically, it's not a lot like Clue, but it's got the concept of Clue, where you have a murder, and you need to figure out who killed the person, with what weapon, and where they did it. That's pretty much where the similarities to Clue end. From what this is, you're a psychic. You have one person playing a ghost, and everybody else is a psychic. So the psychic gets clues from the ghost as to what happened. So you have these cards. I'm trying to dig out here. Well, before I get to the cards, you got 7 turns to figure out who did it, with what weapon, and where. So you get these cards that have these just random pictures on them, just meaningless pictures that you get handed from the ghost. They give you however many they feel can lead you to the right direction. So on the table are, let me find the right ones here. They start out with the people. So you got these cards of people that are laying out on the table. Now, depending on how many people you have playing the game, is how many people are out there. It's usually, I think if you're up to 3 people playing, you get 4 cards, and then from there it just gets higher. But so this is what's on the table for you to look at is these pictures of these people, and you can tell what the person is by looking at it. Like this lady's a nun. She's got her rosaries here. There's a picture of her in her habit, and there's a picture of the church in the back. So when you're trying to figure out the person and you're looking through these cards, like you get this, and there's no way you can make that as a nun. I mean, it's a wheel on a bridge. So how can that be a nun? So hopefully you get something like this. Now, this isn't, again, it's a vampire coming out of a coffin. How does that have anything to do with a nun? It really doesn't, but you can draw a conclusion that if someone puts the vampire in there, how do you beat a vampire? You use a cross. Who has a cross? A nun. You know, so you got to kind of lead them down the road to figure out who it was that did it. Now you got the same things with the places. You've got just pictures of rooms. That's it. There's a kitchen. That's all it is. Just picture of a kitchen. How the hell do you get someone to figure out it's a kitchen from some of these cards? Now, there's obvious ones, like anything with food on it. You could throw that out there. Okay, there's food. It must have been in the kitchen. A knife. You know, okay, a knife. Use a knife in the kitchen. But there could also be, let's use, I don't know if there's a pantry, but there's this one. It's like a butcher's thing because it's got the meat up here on the side. Right up here is some meat. So if you got the kitchen and that out there and someone puts a knife out there, it's like, okay, which one is it? So that's where it gets tricky. And just trying to figure out, as the ghost, which I enjoy being the ghost in this game, as the ghost, you got to figure out a way to lead these people down the right track to guess exactly who killed the person with what weapon and where. And you only get 7 turns. So if you're stuck on the first one for 4 turns, you know, if you've gone through every card and you keep getting it wrong, now you've only got 3 turns left to get the next 2. So more often than not, the people, the mystics do figure out, you know, do get to the end. But then the game's not over. Because now you've got 3 or 4 different people that are playing the game have their own answers. Because it's not always the same. Because there are these little cards, and I kind of left this part out. There are these little cards that you put on this board as the ghost. You got these little pocket holders for each color. And each person has their own person, place, or thing. So they're all trying to figure out their own. So now at the end you could have 4 different people playing. You have 4 groups. Which one's the killer? Where did he do it? So you do pick one group as the ghost at the end to be the actual thing. So it's not like you're picking this person's place, this person's thing, and this person's who, you know. So what you have to do at that point is then you get to put out 3 clues, 1 for each thing. And then they have to figure it out from there. But it's a very, very fun game. It can get pretty funny because people do the most abstract things with these pictures. Because like I said, the pictures are so random that it's just hard sometimes to get, if you have the race car driver, the nun, and the doctor out there, and you have nothing that has anything to do with any of that stuff, it's like, well, what the heck do you do? Now, the Ghost does get one round a game where they can discard all the cards and draw 7 new ones, but
So you
I usually do that
the
early.
other two.
yeah, this is just for the clock, and this is the track. Like, basically, you put this out there and you just put the cards above it. That's all. It's not a lot of building involved. Just the clock itself and the end piece. That's it. But it's a super fun game. Everybody for all ages can enjoy it. So yeah, that's our game of the week.
So that looks cool.
Yeah, it's fun. We got to get you to play it one day.
Yeah. So many games, so little time.
Yeah, that's true. Alright, so on to wrestling. That's our last topic.
Segment of the night.
A lot of stuff happening this week in wrestling.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. We're on the road to Survivor Series. A lot of things.
Go home week is this week.
Yep. A lot. Everything that's happening is changing Survivor Series right now.
Oh yeah.
You got Sheamus and Cesaro beating the Shield for the titles.
Yeah.
Because of the New Day.
Which New Day
is going to lead up, I don't think it's been announced yet, I think it's going to lead to a full Shield team, all 3 of them, against the New Day at Survivor Series.
Well, I guess Roman's supposed to come back this week.
Yep, he comes back.
Basically, the way they set this up, and they didn't want to announce him as being part of the Survivor Series team,
right?
Because they were still scared that he was going to be too sick to compete, not in ring shape.
Yep.
So the way they do this is they make it New Day versus Shield.
Yep.
Because everyone wants to see that. Now, if Roman doesn't get back in time, if he's not healthy enough, then they could take 2 members of New Day, 2 members of Shield,
Yeah.
and then instead of having the Survivor Series team last minute mess up like they did the last time with the TLC.
Yeah.
So that's the way they're doing that.
Right. So I mean, I think Roman will be back. Bo is back. He's doing stuff.
I think
Bray's still not back yet.
I think Bray was on a house show. They had
was it
Triple H teamed with Shield
yes
at a house show, and I think Bray was in that match.
Really? So that's good news. That's good news for Roman. It looks like they're coming to the end.
I think Roman caught it late though.
He did. He caught it like a week or two after.
Yeah.
But I mean, hopefully he's back because I think New Day versus Shield could be interesting.
Yeah.
I think they match up well.
I would love to see the Bullet Club in that too, but
I think they match up well. I think Kofi and Xavier versus Seth and Dean is good. And Big E's a big dude. He's a strong dude. I think he's a good fight for Roman.
I guess Roman and him have been going back on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Like, taking jabs at each other.
Nice.
And he said something about, oh, you're the big dog, you're medium dog. You're only about 240 pounds or something like that. And he goes back at Big E and saying something about his height and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was funny, like, these wrestlers really use Twitter now.
Oh, they do.
To go at each other.
Yep. But I think that'll be announced probably, I'm going to say the Monday before SummerSlam.
Well, it's just this Monday.
Oh, it is, isn't
Yeah.
it? Holy
This
crap.
is the go-home episode.
Good Lord. It's coming, so that's another thing next weekend with Justice League and all the other stuff we were talking about. So then with that, then there's also AJ Styles,
the WWE champion,
winning against Jinder Mahal, which
I think it's short-lived.
is fine.
I really think it's short-lived. I think that they go on a tour in India in December, and Mahal's going to win the title back.
Probably. That's probably when he's going to win it back. But I think they did it. Let me rephrase that. I think the only reason they were able to do that is because they were able to get John Cena into that 5th spot on the SmackDown team.
Well, yeah.
I think AJ Styles needed to be on that team until Cena came back.
Well, the other thing, too, is they were really trying, so Vince was really trying to get an old-school wrestler to ref the match between Mahal and Lesnar so they can get the ratings up and try and get the match buzz.
Yeah.
But when he was trying to get The Rock or Stone Cold to be the special guest referee, they didn't want to do it. There was talks about Cena, but Cena's not going to make that match any more exciting.
Right.
If you have The Rock or Stone Cold as the special guest referee, that match has buzz.
Right.
Cena's not going to do that.
Even Shawn Michaels would cause
buzz. Any of them.
Yeah.
But, so what the rumor was is Lesnar didn't want to face McCall. Didn't think he was gonna draw. AJ draws.
He does.
And now you've got a first-time match, which AJ's having a lot of these first-time matches lately, versus Lesnar.
Yeah.
That's going to draw.
It's going to draw, but it's not going to be a good thing for AJ Styles.
AJ Styles is the best in the world.
Yeah. He's very talented, very talented. Brock Lesnar, they have put him to the point of being unbeatable, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have somebody go out and beat Braun Strowman like he did, and then have AJ Styles beat him. It just doesn't make sense.
I think there's rumors that Brock is going to lose the title within the next month.
Oh, and I mean, I know he's supposed to lose the title.
May not even make it to WrestleMania.
It was supposed to be WrestleMania originally, where him and Roman were going to be the main event. But I mean, it depends on Brock at this point, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what he does, but I think that AJ Brock is much better than Jinder Brock.
Oh yeah.
Although Jinder would have had
Jinder's off the card completely.
Yeah, Jinder would have had a strength matchup at least similar, but AJ's got the quickness and just the innovation. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I mean, I think Survivor Series is going to show that SmackDown just doesn't have the talent that Raw has.
I like SmackDown.
I think that the shows are better because a lot of the guys are more equal in talent level.
I mean, right now you have KO and Sami Zayn left off the card completely.
Well, they got sent home.
Yeah. I was going to talk about that. They got sent home, which at first I thought, it's just storyline, whatever. But then I remember that SmackDown and Raw were both taped this week.
Yeah.
So there was supposed to be a spot where Kevin Owens got beat up more by the New Day after the
Sami Zayn
match.
Sami Zayn was supposed to. The other guys were supposed to come in and beat up Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, both of them, and then they were supposed to go out of the ring and leave, but they didn't want that.
They rolled out of the ring and left.
Well, Kevin Owens jumped in the ring and beat up Kofi Kingston, and then they left.
Yeah.
So they went off script, and Vince didn't like that. Vince never likes that.
No, so they got sent home. I think it could still be storyline. They use it towards their advantage. They leak them getting sent home for a reason, and they're not looking like they're Team SmackDown. Then they return at Survivor Series to help SmackDown. That's possible.
I don't see that. I think that I don't think either one of them are happy with the direction that they're going. I don't think they want to be where they are.
It's possible,
and I don't mean on the show. That I mean, in their career, I don't think this is the point of story that they want to be.
It could be crazy though, that where Shane keeps telling them they're not Team SmackDown, they're not worthy, and then they come and interfere for SmackDown and help them win.
Yeah, but I mean, it's gonna take an act of God to have SmackDown win that with Braun Strowman,
Braun's gonna get counted
and Samoa Joe,
like they always count with the big men.
Braun, Joe on one side. I mean, there's nobody on the other side that can beat those two.
So for Survivor's probably gonna be it's probably not gonna be Cena. Cena's probably gonna get eliminated early. It's probably gonna be Shinsuke. They're gonna make Shinsuke look strong.
Oh, they better. I hope it's Bobby Roode. In that match, as far as who I like in that match, he's my favorite guy in that match. But he's a champion from NXT. He was a champion in Ring of Honor too, right? TNA. I mean, so he's a champion wrestler.
Oh, so was Nakamura.
Yeah,
he's one.
That's true. But who did he lose to in NXT? Bobby Roode. So it's like, and he lost to him a couple times, I think.
It was back and forth with both of them.
Yeah, but
he got hurt too.
But once Bobby got the title, he never gave it up until he left, and he gave it up to Drew freaking McIntyre.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Drew.
He's all right.
I don't know. I gotta catch back up in NXT.
Yeah, me too. I mean, they've lost a lot of their top end talent's gone. So I mean, they still got Alistair
They've
Black.
been really good about restocking though.
Yeah.
And they're going after a lot of these indie talents.
Yeah.
So I gotta catch back up. I've heard it's been really good.
Yeah. But I mean, back to Survivor Series. I'm trying to think about the women's match. I think SmackDown's got that.
Did you see the goof up today?
No.
So they changed the SmackDown poster to promote AJ versus Brock.
Yeah.
And they have the normal players on each side that are facing each other. Natalie is left off the poster and Charlotte's in the poster.
Really?
And Charlotte versus Natalie for the championship next Tuesday.
Yep.
And that's not the first time they've made mistakes like that.
Now I'm going to say this. I forgot about that match next week. If that happens, I think it's a better match.
Yeah.
Because I think Charlotte's the X factor in that match. Because
now you're taking Charlotte out of the 5-on-5.
Right.
And you're putting her 1-on-1 with Alexa Bliss.
There's no way Alexa wins that match. I'm sorry. I mean, she's talented and all, but there's no way Alexa wins
Charlotte's in. Plus, they're talking about where Ric Flair just had the 30 for 30.
Yeah.
Having the momentum to make Charlotte Flair the champion again. Right. She's going to be a big draw.
Yep.
And she's genetically
superior. But I just think the women's division in wrestling right now is Charlotte Flair and everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, Natalia's good. She's got the pedigree too. You know.
The hot girl.
She's from the Hearts. You know, she's got the training from her father, her uncles. I'm sure Stu's not training anybody anymore, but
no, he's dead.
At least his knowledge. Stu's dead now?
Pretty sure. Yeah, he's been dead for a while.
Oh, okay.
He was like 93 back in the day.
But, you know, all that knowledge of the family, you know, it gives her something, you know. But it's seriously, it's Charlotte Flair and everybody else. I mean, Becky's good, Sasha's good, Alexa's good.
There was a live event. I don't know who the rest of the women were. There was a live event, and two women used the stunner and the Hogan leg drop in the match. Yeah,
that's funny.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
And I think the ones who get overlooked in the women's match are going to be Tamina and Nia Jax.
I have a feeling Paige somehow makes it into the match.
She might show up. I don't think she's going to be part of the match.
Well,
she might interfere.
They may take Lana out of it and put Paige in.
Oh, that makes sense. Because Lana's terrible.
Yeah.
Nice
she was supposed to come back for the there was rumors of her coming back last week for the.
Yeah, Paige is supposed to be back soon. That would be good. I mean, put her on the SmackDown roster. But I mean, the thing with Survivor Series is, I mean, it's so many players in each match. It's anything can happen.
Oh yeah.
You know, and what other matches are there? There's championship. U.S. champion versus the Intercontinental champion.
The Miz.
Who the hell cares?
It's
the Miz and Baron Corbin.
Miz.
I like Baron Corbin, but the match is pointless.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The Miz is awful. Worst wrestler ever. Okay, maybe not talent-wise, but he's just, in my opinion, I just can't stand the guy.
What about
Baron Corbin? He's talented, but he's just got an attitude.
Yeah.
You know, he's just got an attitude, so he's not going to get the push. Sheamus and Cesaro versus the Usos.
Interesting, but actually the Usos are defending their titles against Chad Gable and
there's no way they lose
Shelton
to
Benjamin.
American Alpha Part 2. It's just not going to happen.
I love Shelton Benjamin. I always did. He was a beast.
He's good, but there's no way it's going to happen.
But what about non-WWE news? Chris Jericho is going to be fighting...
Cody Rhodes, right?
No,
not Cody Rhodes.
No,
what's his name?
Omega.
Yeah. Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Versus the Alpha, Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
There was a pretty good promotion going on. It was actually a surprise. So wrestling in this day and age is tough. You don't get surprises anymore.
No, you really don't.
So they were at a
Except
show.
for a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, sometimes. But still, they always somehow spoil it. But this no one knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho.
It's on his cruise, right?
No, it's going to be January 4th. It's their wrestling. It's their big event of the year.
Yeah.
And basically, what happened was, a video was made, and Omega was talking about how no one can beat him, this and that, and he can speak Japanese, so he's going back and forth from English and Japanese. He's in the ring with the Young Bucks, and he's talking about how he's beat everybody, and kind of like old school Y2J videos that are coming down. And it's like a bunch of like buildings and stuff like that. And then it shows 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
And it's Chris Jericho. And he's holding a picture. And he's like, I'm the best in the world. He goes, CM Punk, Edge, Shawn Michaels. They all claim to be the best in the world. But I'm still here. Because I'm the best in the world. And it was a great promo. And he's talking about how, and he shows a picture of Kenny Omega. He goes, "You think you're the best in the world?" And he rips it up. Yeah. He goes, "I'm the best in the world, and I challenge you to a match at the Wrestling X something. It's in January 4th, and it's their big, like their big pay-per-view or big event." And he goes, and he said something, and he calls him a bitch. I'm just like, wow, that was a great promo because Chris Jericho still knows how to cook.
Well, Chris Jericho's always been a great, promo.
But Kenny Omega is one of the best wrestlers to not be in the WWE.
Yeah,
he's one of those ones that he's a top 10 wrestler in the world, not in WWE, and that's the way AJ Styles used to be. AJ Styles is one of the only wrestlers. I think he was PWI Sport Wrestler #1 of the year or something.
Yeah,
and I think he's got that once or twice, not even being in WWE.
Yeah,
Samoa Joe was one of those before. So Kenny Omega, WWE's tried to get him so many times, but the kid can make more money doing independent and kind of like Cody Rhodes doing.
Yeah.
And the Young Bucks are two other wrestlers that WWE's wanted, but they don't want to give up. They're making so much money, all these shows, they don't want to give that up. And they're smaller guys, so WWE would bury them. You know how they would.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, it's tough to be in the WWE when you're not bigger. Yeah. Because there's so many guys. You got Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman.
You've seen
if you're going to compete with these guys,
5 to 7 or so years, more of the indie talent getting signed by WWE with NXT, and then they're using them more. Daniel Bryan, small guy, won the championship.
Right. I'm not saying it's impossible, more of that. But
Bobby Roode's not a big guy.
Bobby Roode, Shinsuke's another one.
He's not huge. He's like 220.
Finn, AJ.
The champions. The champions are more like 220 pounds now.
But the problem is to put them in a match with Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. It's hard to make it believable. Although Roman's an easy one because he takes his bumps right and he sells a lot.
I just want them to get the title off Brock. Right.
Yeah, they need to. And other than stripping him of the title.
And changing the name of it.
The only way that they can really do that, in my opinion, is to have like a Fatal 4-Way or one of those matches where he doesn't even need to be part of the decision.
Braun Strowman needs to be the new champion.
See, I don't want that either. As good as he is, and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be champion, you're going to be in the same situation as you are with Brock right now. Who's going to beat him?
Well, that's what I like. I like the story of, but at least he'd be on the show. And then now you have that story of you have the king, the mountain, the champion, like the almighty champion, and then you have this crazy match, kind of like they did back in the day with Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, but at least Hogan was still big and
big guy. But what I'm saying is you have some guy come in and unexpectedly beat him, and then boom.
Yeah, but then if you do that, you just throw all your credibility out the window. It's like Seth Rollins was a great champion. He beat Triple H. He's beaten other guys like that. He fought Braun Strowman and he got destroyed because it's
so that was a really good match, though.
It was an okay match, but the whole time you never thought Braun Strowman was going to lose. Yeah. There's got to be a point in time where you think the person's going to lose. And in any match Braun Strowman's in, even when he was in the match with Brock, I'm like, there's no way he's going to lose. He wound up losing a Brock, which was really dumb.
And it was stupid the way they did it.
Really dumb.
They should have made him take like 3 F5s or something to lose.
Yeah. But didn't he hit him with 2 power slams and then
he
Brock
put him
gets
through the table F5. 3 times or twice and it was just
and
stupid.
Then 1 F5 and
I thought that was bad booking.
Very bad.
But it is what it is. We'll find out more soon. Hopefully Brock loses.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. But I just want wrestling to go back to those moments.
Yeah.
Because thinking back to Hogan when he comes down and joins the Outsiders.
Yeah, I want more shock factors.
Right. I want stuff like that. And the only times you get that anymore is during Royal Rumble. AJ Styles shows up. People knew it. I didn't know
last year's
it.
Rumble wasn't that good. There
wasn't much. Ty Dillinger showed up in last year.
Yeah, that's it.
Yippity-doo. The perfect 10, and he comes in at number 10. Okay, that isn't much of a surprise. But yeah, I mean, I want that wow factor back and the shock factor. But they make these guys so unbeatable that you're not going to get wowed or shocked because, oh, look, it's Braun Strowman. He's going to win. Oh, look, it's Brock Lesnar. he's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bill Goldberg's not around anymore, but he was like that too.
Ugh.
Now, Goldberg I was a fan of. I've always been a fan of him since his debut in WCW.
I was a fan back then. I wasn't liking his last run.
I was playing WWE 2K18 the other day, and I was playing a match. Goldberg was in it. They actually have the entire entrance from the back of the locker room, where his door opens up and he's surrounded by the cops and he walks out. They actually have that in the game. I thought that was really
That's cool.
Little side topic. But yeah, so I think that's it for wrestling. I think we're good this week.
Yeah. Well,
all right. Remember, we got Twitter, ZNI Podcast, or at ZNI Podcast. We're on Facebook. I think it's Zach and Ira's podcast on there. Where else are we? We're everywhere.
Yeah, we have our own Facebook, so you can message us. We'll share it.
We're
on everything.
Obviously, we're on YouTube, Zach and Ira's podcast. So subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos if you like us, and we'll see you next week.
Tell us what you like.